G'day, my name's Ian Malcolm. I'm here with Chris McCartan and we're going to go through some safe principles of using a chisel. And I'm going to hand it over to Chris. What do you reckon?
Rule number one is clamp the timber to the bench. It's a whole lot safer. We're going to use an old-fashioned G-clamp. We like to use a bit of scrap to protect our working material, just to give it a nicer finish. We're going to use a quick action Irwin clamp. And we're going to clamp that to the bench, nice and secure. Nice.
Chris, one of the things I'd like to mention too is I believe that the sharper the chisel, the safer the chisel. Because I want the chisel to do the work, not me. I don't want to force to push, I want to just ease it through the timber.
Yeah, definitely. This is a sharp chisel. It's been ground on a grinding stone, it's been honed on an oil stone. And it's nice and sharp, both sides is nice and clean and defects, and definitely working away. When paring a bit of timber away for a hinge, just working away a little bit at a time. Don't even need to do the whole whole hinge at once.
Oh, don't you like the sound of that when that wood just peels off like that? And you can only get that sound when that's nice and sharp. And look at no effort, that is just gliding through that timber. When it comes to hitting the chisel, I get to pick what I'm going to use. In the real world, I'm not going to take a wooden mallet with me to work. If I'm home here in my workshop, I've got a mallet, that's what I would use to protect the top of the chisel. But at work, I'm going to use a normal everyday hammer, you know, a nice one like this. And it's a bit of a personal preference. When I grew up, my father taught me, I always put the hammer on the side to protect it because I don't want to hit it in one point where I can actually break it off. I need a nice flat. But anyway, I'm going to pass over to Chris.
The hammer is the tool of choice. It's obviously it's on your nail bag. It's there ready to go. Holding the back of the chisel, that's the flat side of the chisel, just off the line. As you hit it, it will go towards the line. Not much, just a tiny little bit. Across the grain, you can give it a little bit more of a hit. And then with the grain, a little bit less of a hit. Just off the line again.
You can even hear that sound. That is a much softer blow going in, but yet it's penetrating into the wood the same amount.
Yes. You hit it hard this way, your potential of splitting the wood. And then, very easily, with the bevel facing down, taking a small bit at a time. You're not trying to do this in one go, taking your time, and then through the process again. Remembering not to try and lever it out against the good edge. We're trying to protect that edge and keep it nice and square.
How often do we see it where those short cuts become long cuts where they try and take too much out too soon?
Oh yes.
And then I have another block, please.
And then there's a big chip out of it. You can see I'm working, my hands are miles away from the chisel, and it comes out quite easy without levering against my nice square edges.
You make that look like you can almost do that. Now, one of the things we need to talk about also is picking the right tool for the right job. Now, this is my infamous rough work chisel, and you can tell that it has taken a few knocks over the years. If I'm doing a renovation, I'm chopping out for a beam or something where I might hit a few nails, or I'm going to use it for a lever or splitting something apart, concrete, I have that chisel. Now your boss will definitely have two chisels. One, the good one for door locks, etc., and the butcher one for those. Never get them mixed up, and do not use his good chisel for something that is made for that. And you know, it's another one of those things where size does matter. You make sure you use the right size chisel. This is a whopping 50mm chisel. It's beautiful for some applications, but you wouldn't put a door lock in with it. Anyway,
maintaining the chisels, guys, once they're sharp and they're nice and clean, they do rust easily. We just wipe them with a rag with a little bit of oil on it. just to give them protection. You store them away in a nice leather pouch, somewhere wrapped up in a box where the edge is protected for when you need them to use something, do some nice fine work.
Look after them and they'll look after you. Okay, Chris, now one of the things that I'd like to include is talking about filling in a JSA, a job safety analysis, and for chiseling. So the first section would be what's the activity, so we would say chiseling.
Using a chisel?
Yeah, basically, yeah, any application that we've got there. And the hazard, the lacerations, which is a fancy word for saying cuts. Now let's have a talk about the multiple risk control measures that we might have. What do you think?
Well, certainly hold the chisel in two hands, working away from you. Always the safest way to do it. Never holding the timber in your hand, clamping it to the bench. Keeping a nice clean work area, no trip hazards, makes the whole job much easier.
Making sure that we wouldn't do anything like leave the chisel on the edge of the bench where I could knock it and it would fall onto my foot. That would be definitely not something I would want to happen. And of course, my favourite, keep it as sharp as possible. That when I'm working, both hands working away, I want the chisel doing the work. I don't want to force it, I just want to ease it through the timber. And I want to make sure that I'm not going to slip and go into the person next to me. I reckon that pretty well covers.
Yep.
If we follow those couple of simple guidelines, you should be able to go home from your day's work, all your fingers intact, no stitches, a great outcome. Anyway, from us, happy woodworking.
Thank you. Good luck. Enjoy.